Hello and welcome. I'm Melinda Akimami. Tonight, Benue State Governor Samuel Otom orders prosecution of everyone involved in the latest violence in the state as warring parties agreed to sheathe their swords. Cattle breeders call for the establishment of a Ministry for Livestock Development as a solution to the current face-off between farmers and herdsmen. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana accuses the Department of State Security of deceiving the Shiite leader Ibrahim El-Zakzaki and his wife with a promise of freedom for the media parade in Abuja. And Liberia's ruling party expels outgoing President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf after she was accused of encouraging people to vote against her vice, Joseph Bakare. We begin tonight from the presidential villa Abuja, where President Muhammadu Buhari is currently in a closed-door meeting with the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, over the security situation in the country. According to a tweet from the federal government's Twitter handle at NGR President, the President called for the meeting to brief the National Assembly leadership on efforts being made by the executive towards securing Benue State and other parts of the country. We'll bring you updates from that meeting as they unfold. And talking about Benue State, in Makadi, the state capital, warring parties have agreed to bury the hatchet following the violence which broke out in Makadi over the alleged violation of the public holiday declared on Saturday, which claimed the life of a resident. The decision was reached at an emergency security meeting convened by Governor Samuel Otom with all the ethnic groups involved. The governor has directed security operatives to quickly conclude its investigation and prosecute all suspects involved in the crisis.
These are the rains from Saturday's violent clash in Makodi, Benue State, following disagreements amongst residents over the violation of the Thursday public holiday declaration for the burial of 73 victims of herdsmen attack in the state. Governor Samuel Otom is here on the streets of Wadata district in the state capital to assess the level of damages on businesses and property. Thereafter, the governor convened an emergency stakeholders meeting with all the ethnic groups and religious leaders to find out the cause of the violence.
We do not support the people that went around to supervise and enforce the closing of the shops because the security personnel are there. Like we have said in many quarters, if there was a need to enforce to making sure that all shops were closed, it was the duty of the security personnel to do that.
Before the day of the mass burial, there was a report from my elders. Our elders informed us that they had information from the state government that nobody should engage in any form of business activity on the day of the burial. And to be honest with you, where I live along Madi, there was total compliance.
The Tar Makodi, while giving an account of the incident, accused a religious leader of inciting his followers, a claim the cleric denies.
That preaching I learned was the main thing that brought this man was there.
That information brought to my day, Makodi, is not true. I have recorded everything with me.
After all the ethnic groups have stated their position, the governor reads the Riot Act.
As governor of Benue State, my primary responsibility is to provide security for lives and property. And I will not allow anybody here to come and frustrate me. I will deal with you in a manner that you regret being in Benue State, if you're found culpable.
The resolve at this meeting is to close ranks amongst all ethnic groups and religion to fish out troublemakers who plan to foment trouble in the state.
Now, one of the parties involved in the crisis, that's the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, has come up with what it believes is a solution to the face-off between herdsmen and farmers. The group is calling for the establishment of a federal Ministry of Livestock Development to protect the interests of its members from states that have introduced the anti-open grazing law. The National Secretary of the Association, Mr. Baba Usman Nganjama, mentioned it at a news conference which took place in Abuja.
The current situation, in our opinion, is fueled by the draconian laws put in place by some state governors with the singular aim of chasing out people out of the state simply for ethnic hatred. The anti-open grazing law, which started in Ekiti, the anti-grazing law in Benue and Taraba and other states, is nothing more than a symbol of intolerance and do not in any way intend to solve the farmer-grazer complex, as the livestock breeders' interest is neither captured in the law nor in the implementation mechanisms. After reviewing the current challenges as they affect our members, we are of the humble opinion that the following steps can go a long way in not only dousing detention in the country, but also go a long way in reducing the perennial conflict to the barest minimum. The federal government should create a federal Ministry of Livestock Development to attend to the multinational needs of the industry as it is obtained in many countries, and the enactment of a national law to cater for the peculiar needs of the pastoralists in particular and the livestock subsector in general.
Former running mate to President Muhammadu Buhari in the 2011 elections, that's Pastor Tunde Bakare, has lashed out on the federal government for failing to deliver on its major campaign promises. Pastor Bakare gave his verdict at the State of the Nation address at the Lateran Assembly, where he is the presiding pastor. But that's not all. Pastor Bakare also believes he has a role to play in the country's leadership, although not necessarily through an election.
This administration anchored its policy outlook on three main thrusts. 1. Security. 2. Job creation through diversification. And 3. Anti-corruption. Yet, all around us are signs of retrogression. Between 2015 and 2017, the number of unemployed Nigerians rose from about 6 million to almost 16 million people. On diversification, despite ongoing efforts, reports indicate that oil continues to significantly dominate Nigeria's export revenue, leading to the shortfall in foreign currency in the first half of this administration. The ineffectiveness of the anti-corruption world is seen in the loss of crucial corruption cases. For instance, in April 2017, the federal government lost 4 high-profile corruption cases involving Orubebe, Ademola, Madam Patience. 4 high-profile corruption in 96 hours. Nothing indicts the current government greater than its failure in one key performance area that ought to be its strength: security. Despite recent setbacks, we acknowledge the gains in the war against Boko Haram. But highly disturbing is the mayhem being continually unleashed by herdsmen on communities in different states across the country. It's a call to return to the foundations of our geopolitical structure. It's a call to renegotiate our union.
In a related story, former Minister of Education Oby Ezekwesili is following up on her agenda for 2019. The former minister has declared in a tweet sent out earlier this month to stop the 2 major political parties in Nigeria, that's the All Progressive Congress APC and the People's Democratic Party PDP, from winning state and national elections. Oby Ezekwesili, who was a guest on our flagship political program, Sunday Politics, said there is no more reward for bad governance. But the special advisor to the president, Mr. Femi Adesina, thinks otherwise. He believes the government is on course.
The result of that failure is that we are a country that still has more than 60% of our population at poverty level. We are a nation where every year some 3 million to 4 million children, young people, would join the unemployment at the labor market. And only before you say, ask me the next question, the way that's going to happen is this. We need to unlock the power of citizens to use this. This is the green card that will bring in a different set of critical mindset that is necessary for building our nation. It wouldn't matter to me where that mindset would come from. It is the values that drive the mindset that citizens use of their PVC to redefine the quality of leadership in our country would determine for me.
Pressure is both positive and negative. If you're talking of performance, yes, every government must be under pressure because it must be seen to fulfill its promises. Sure, government will be under pressure on that because it must perform. But then pressure in terms of will they vote for us or will they not vote for us, I don't think so. Because I believe that this government is on course, is doing what it has promised to do, and by the time the mandate ends and it needs to be renewed, the onus will be on the electorate, whether to give a fresh mandate or not. For me, as far as I know, as far as I see, as we move on, I think the government is doing what it promised to do.
And in Kano State, Nigeria's northwest region, the government is advocating the recognition of the citizenship of all Nigerians, regardless of tribe, during the next constitution review. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje gave this position at a forum attended by religious and community leaders from across the state. He believes that once all constitutional citizenship positions are satisfied, nothing else matters.
Different parts of the country have witnessed a lot of violence in recent times, ranging from herdsmen attacks to communal and religious crisis. It's a situation that has prompted the Kano state government to assemble religious and traditional leaders, as well as communities and ethnic groups, to discuss how to sustain peace in the state. The host governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, insists that the only way to strengthen religious harmony is by coming together as one people in one Nigeria.
Once you pay your taxes, then automatically you should be an indigent of that place, because you contribute to the socio-economic development of that place. You contribute to the peace of that place. So, according to our own memo to the National Assembly, the issue of indigenship should be removed.
Religious and traditional leaders agree that coexisting in Kano state and other states of the country is non-negotiable.
The reason why we have problems between Muslims and Christians is due to the fact that large number of followers of the two religions are ignorant of the teachings of the religions.
Quoting you, sir, on your leadership stand, you said, my leadership will remain focused in securing lives and properties of Kano State. Both Christians and Muslims are creation of God.
The governor of Adamawa, who is among the guests, believes that Nigerians have no business fighting one another.
We should appreciate what God has done for us. We should acknowledge that God has bestowed a lot of opportunity to serve the people, to serve the humanity, that at least one day we must leave a legacy, not for our children, but for our own grandchildren.
The good thing that we will do to this conference is to go back to our mosque, go back to our churches, and enlighten our followers.
If meetings like this are held in other states, it will hopefully promote better unity across the country, especially if the citizens put the resolutions into action.
Peaceful coexistence of people.
In part two, after the break, gunmen kidnapped former Commissioner for Transport in Bayelsa State, Mrs. Marie Bakare, at her residence. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.